2004 was not a good year for me. My doctor tried to make it better by prescribing Prozac. Only Prozac didn't make it better. So she prescribed more Prozac. And that made it so much more not better that I concluded the only way I could describe how much more not better was in a stand-up comedy routine. And thus was planted the seed for what has become Prozac Monologues. So I went off Prozac, and on January 25, 2005, I boarded an airplane for Costa Rica, armed with a yellow legal pad and a ballpoint pen. For 8 days in beautiful tropical Costa Rica, my wife went to the beach, visited with family, explored neighborhoods, did something, tried new foods, that's what she did. While I wrote. When I filled up one side of the yellow legal pad, I wrote on the back. When I filled up the back, I wrote in the margins. When I filled up the margins, I wrote between the lines. I went home with 7 chapters. 2 weeks later, the book was done. I told my doctor about my book and maniacally writing it. That word maniacally raised a red flag, so she screened for bipolar. She said, "Are you manic?" I said what anybody who thought she was Jesus Christ come back as Jessica Christ would have said. I'm not manic, I'm excited. Oh, okay. So she prescribed a second antidepressant, and that began what will have to become a new book, but I haven't recovered enough to be able to write it yet. Was I manic? No, I was hypomanic. But I didn't know that word, maybe you don't either. So I submit for definition and for evidence the first 4 pages of Prozac Monologues by Willa Goodfellow, Chapter 1, Bizarre, in which I decide to write a book. Okay, let's start with the basic Prozac dilemma. Just who is the crazy one around here? If, after you read the morning paper, you are happy, content, secure, at peace, able to get up, go out, and pursue your activities of daily living filled with confidence and a sense of purpose, then tell me, are you pathologically delusional? Or are you on Prozac? Citizens of the United States of America, called Americans, thereby hijacking the identities of 38 other nations in the Western Hemisphere. Remember Canada? Ever heard of Paraguay? Make up 5% of the population of the planet and consume 24% of its energy resources. We spend more on trash bags than the gross national product of 90 of the world's 130 nations. We spend more on trash bags than the whole gross national product of 90 nations. So who is the crazy one around here? We get such a sliver of time to enjoy our life on this wildly extravagant planet, and we spend precious moments of it watching couples compete for cash prizes on the basis of how many maggots they will eat. Until the maggot eating is interrupted by somebody who wants to sell you an air freshener that uses an electronically operated fan to circulate chemical compounds around your living room to make you think you're out of doors. The fan is the latest advance in civilization, which will enable you to stop feeding your shiatsu little treats, which previously you had to do to get it to wag its tail to circulate the chemical compounds around your living room. So now you have to take Prozac. So you can get yourself up off the sofa where you have been sitting in a semi-catatonic state, watching the maggot eating and dog treating, out of your pajamas and into your 4-wheel drive SUV, which you were compelled to purchase after viewing those commercials of SUVs climbing over mountainous terrain by raging rivers, but which you happen to use to commute an hour and 45 minutes on some freeway to your job in a cubicle with a picture of mountainous terrain beside raging rivers and a motivational caption underneath. So you can buy the air freshener with its self-contained and electronically operated fan that circulates the chemical compounds around your living room to make you think you are out of doors, because you wouldn't want to actually go out of doors The air is so nasty from the fumes from your SUV. Who is the crazy one around here? Don't get me started on the taxes you will pay from your job in your cubicle to fund somebody's research into that missile that can shoot down somebody else's missile to protect us from the bad guys who can bring down 2 100-story buildings armed with the equivalent of a Swiss Army knife. If it's your job to figure out how to shoot down that missile, stop taking Prozac and go do something else with your life. Or go back to your sofa, please. Now I sound like Michael Moore. Let's just call this the crazy delusion, a concept not original to me and of which you can think of your own examples, so there's no need for me to continue this rant, which is really not the point of this book, but only the context of our consideration of the title of its first chapter. In short, it's hard to tell whether depression is a problem of distorted thinking or the consequence of clarity. Either way, sitting on the sofa in your pajamas does not turn the economic engine of this great nation, no matter what you're watching. Except the pharmaceutical industry's economic engine. They keep making money as long as they're able to keep selling you images of people who are happy and confident popping their Prozac. Nowadays it's Abilify, which you really start to believe while you're still stuck on that sofa watching those images over and over and over again. Have you noticed how all the ads for antidepressants run during the afternoon soaps? If you're not depressed, you haven't noticed because you're off at work turning that economic engine. No, those pharmaceutical guys know where to find their audience and when, on the sofa, in our pajamas, in the middle of the afternoon. Now I'm talking to you, the one in the pajamas. You thought you might get up and go out for a walk like you promised your sweetie who has gone to work that you would, but here it is, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The recap of yesterday's episode comes on, and before you can find the remote to switch it off after the last soap, that theme song begins. It sounds inspirational, but for some reason, you start to cry. After the theme song, just before the start of today's episode, it's time for that gentle, compassionate voice that lists all of your symptoms, including another one that you have now that the voice mentions it, but up until now you didn't realize it was on the list, so you must be even sicker than you thought. Who is that voice? Who understands you so well, better than your own doctor it seems, and so must know exactly what you need to ask your doctor to prescribe? Here is that list, by the way. Sadness, no doubt. Loss of interest in things you used to like to do. Sleep disturbance, too much, too little. Weight gain or loss, loss of motivation, hence all that time on the sofa, lack of energy, slowed pace, poor memory, poor concentration. They don't want you at work anyway, you might break something. Loss of self-confidence, like if they really don't want you at work, you might break something. Guilt, feelings of worthlessness, suicidal thoughts or attempts. If you've been sad or lost interest in things for at least 2 weeks, plus 4 of the others, I'm talking about you. You and 12% of the population who will experience an episode of depression sometime in your lifetime, that's major depression, plus another 6% who just feel lousy all the time, that's dysthymia, and another 6.4 who are sometimes way up and sometimes way down, that's bipolar, or 1 in 20 people in any given month. When you have so much company, how is it you feel so alone? You are not alone. Prozac Monologues. Thank you.